to the show tonight. Man, those folks down there in Pelham can help you fix a big problem that some people start having in their homes, especially if you've lived in your home a long time. You got one of those old school tubs with a shower in it. Those were great back in the day, but they've always been slippery. And as you get older or start losing a step or going through things in life, losing mobility, it becomes almost, well, it's dangerous to just take a daily shower or a weekly shower. I don't know how you roll. But if you got a family member too, where you're just worried about mom, you're worried about dad, and you want them to be able to live independently, and they do too, this could be the solution. It's very affordable. They've got the best product in the industry. They stand behind what they do. They're going to give you an honest quote and stick to it. No pressure. When you're ready, they're ready. 2-day project. They're in, they're out, and it's done. They come back and test. They really get most of it done the first day. The other part of this is these systems are beautiful. Low entry, easy to get into and out of, slip proof, all that stuff. Shelving, handles where they ought to be so you can stabilize yourself in there and get it done. It's Alabama Bass. Look, if you're a veteran, you've earned all the benefits that we promised you, and you may be eligible to get this done. If you've got a service-connected disability, let John, who's a veteran himself, take your time and walk you through that whole laborious process to get qualified. They'll wait on you, and when you're ready, they'll be ready. Like I said, Alabama Bass down in Pelham. If you want to go see one of the build outs, you're welcome to go to Pelham and take a look. Otherwise, they'll come to you, alabamabass.com. All right, let's go. Let's hit the phones. Who are y'all voting for tomorrow? What else you got? We'll throw some things out there, let the callers do a little work this afternoon. We'll start with our buddy Tom in Madison. What's up, Tom?
Leland, I know you're a friend with Jared, and I'm not trying to put you, but you're experienced in all this election stuff.
Yep.
I've watched, and I really believe in Jared Hudson for what he is in his heart. I've seen some things about he's a rhino, and and he's taking this money from these liberals that are that got other people. they call out the names.
Oh yeah.
To me, that's kind of dirty, but it's politics. That what brings me to the question. I googled Jared Hudson. Didn't you? I went to YouTube and did Jared Hudson and saw an interview, just an hour and a half long, but with Sean Ryan show. Sean Ryan, the first 30 minutes, it was Jared's testimony. I mean, he nailed it, and that says a whole lot to me. I don't know Mr. Moore, but they're saying, oh, he knows the politics, and he can go right in there and do his job. I told you a long time ago when he first started talking about running, what he's doing with Covenant Rescue is so much better. I didn't want him to get into this soup.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that soup is coming after him, but can you help me?
Well, what's your question, Tom?
Is this stuff about him being a rhino?
No, Lord.
I mean,
it's
what about
he's not a rhino. Look,
money coming from all these Democrat places?
I don't know. I've not gone through his campaign report. I'd be surprised at that. I asked him about it. It's usually in politics because it's all disingenuous. Both whether you're fluffing your resume and pretending you were Rambo and you barely did ROTC, which some people are accusing his opponent of, or some PAC that took a check, somebody that got a donation from somebody that's on the dark side, and through association you're a puppet of the left. All of these things are wild exaggerations. The negative attacks and the positive stuff they say about themselves. They're always more humble when they're bragging, and they're always it's silly. They're counting on the stupidity of voters, not knowing how the fundraising system works and believing the worst about anybody that would run for office. And I've talked about this over and over, Tom. You've probably heard me, but they do it because it works. You don't have to.
Does.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
it
have to
does.
be true to put it in a TV spot about your opponent. It doesn't have to be true at all.
Does not have to be true.
Nope.
Is that what you said?
No, it doesn't. There's no real standard. It's all gray area. It's exaggeration and association just to create. I remember sitting in a whole sort of a seminar on how to put these kind of attacks together, because I used to do this stuff for a living. There's a whole script for how to do it. And I remember this one consultant
It's
saying,
kind of like community organizers. But
oh, yeah, I guess. I remember this one consultant, he was an instructor in this class that day. He goes, all you have to do is plant a seed of doubt. You don't have to prove anything. Just plant that seed of doubt, and it'll grow till Election Day. And that's all a lot of these attacks are about.
Over and over.
Yes.
That's propaganda.
That's straight Joseph Goebbels. It's true.
Got it.
Thanks,
God
buddy.
bless. Get on to your other calls, and I'm opening up a polling station at my church
You
tomorrow
might as
at 6.
well. Good for you, man. Thanks for working at the polls. That's a hard day.
God bless y'all. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, look, it's almost here. Look, just trust me on this. Most every negative attack you see is untrue. It's probably a little bit of truth, but it's not completely correct. And they're just trying to take advantage. And it's all of it. It's our side, their side. I don't care whose side you're on. All of these things are just stupid. They get away with it because we're dumb enough to believe it. Clarissa is up next. What's up, Clarissa?
Hey, Brian. You were talking about the incident with the restaurant that involved somebody getting shot.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to call in because even though I work full-time in the travel industry, I do side hustle some since COVID in the restaurant industry to have money to travel and to, spending money and whatnot. And so I've been at a particular restaurant for about 4 years now, and I have always been told that if we had a customer walk out during our shift and not pay a bill, that we as the server could A, take the write-up, or B, we could cover the cost of their bill. I have not had this happen, so I have not pressed the legality of it and what the state laws are in Alabama. I do know that we do not get an hourly pay. We're paid in tips only that we have to share. So that may affect the legality of the law. But after I saw that story over this weekend, I had a conversation with my family, and I told them that if I was ever in that situation, I, made an agreement with them that I would never go after anybody for money, even if it meant a side hustle job that I loved and I had had for several years. That is a blessing to me. That is just not worth it. I have been in the restaurant where another server that is not there anymore received a death threat because they were reading back an order and somebody got that angry. I heard it with my own 2 ears, threatened to kill them. And so, people just are not walking around okay, Leland. And I just wanted to call in and say that if anybody thinks that, going after somebody over money for your employer, I personally don't think it's worth it. I wouldn't recommend it. There's always other jobs out there to be had, and, safety first.
Yeah, I agree 100%. One, no job's worth it. People are crazy nowadays and angry and volatile, especially somebody, if you think about it, somebody that's in a restaurant, they know they're going to dash out. They're already amped up. They know, and you don't know, they got the jump on you in some ways, and they're already defensive. They may be in a desperate place in life. So it's just not worth your life or getting into a real confrontation over. And I'd be surprised at any company that would make their employees liable for that kind of property loss or merchandise loss. It just doesn't make it. It seems like the liability's on them. If you were to pursue them, Clarissa, and get hurt yourself, you think that'd be on the liability would be on the company as well.
Right. So everybody just keep safety in mind first.
There you go. All right, good call. Man, we're just bouncing. That's fine. Wide open with the phone lines, 545-9950. Y'all are lighting it up. Josh is next on a cell phone. What's up, Josh?
How's it going?
Hey, man.
So first, I got like a question and maybe a point and a half, and I was going to start with a question.
Okay.
How much do these candidates have control over who donates to them in the first place, like the various PACs and individual donors and stuff?
Well, total in some ways, and here's how it works. In your direct campaign, it's called a principal campaign committee. you can accept or reject a donation. Now, most of the time, truth be known, the candidates out there running around, they've got a fundraiser handling the incoming, and they give them the bottom line every day. And unless there's a problem with an individual check, they generally cash everything that comes in. But if they see a problem with a problem donor that they don't want to keep, they'll just make a return. Or if they get caught, they'll make a return. Then there's the whole PAC system, which is nothing but a money laundering system in the first place. It's set up to operate outside the principal committee, and there'll be a whole different group of people running that, but it gets associated with your campaign if it's giving positive ads or for you or negative against your opponent. So it's seen as an extension of your campaign, even though you're not supposed to be, by the law, directly involved. So, and those get really cloudy because of something known as PAC-to-PAC transfers, where one PAC gives to another PAC. And the whole point of that is to launder the money to hide the original source. And it almost happens with every single campaign in the country all the time. It's an incredibly difficult thing to track down. And once you get 2 layers past a candidate, it's hard to prove a direct connection to a donation at all.
Aha. But nice and complicated. All right, well, that takes me kind of to my point, and that is
right.
In their mudslinging battle here, there's accusations that Barry has taken large amounts of money from some crypto company owners, something that were heavy Hillary donors.
Yep.
And in counter to that was Jared taking money from previous Kamala donors or something along those lines. And for what it's worth, assuming that those are true statements, it troubles me a lot more that the Trump-endorsed incumbent Barry would take Democrat-associated money. It makes a lot more sense that the Democrats that hate Trump are going to try and throw money at the non-endorsed candidate. And my other point and a half, is the Iowa race where Randy Feenstra was endorsed by Trump because he really didn't. He's come out and said why. Really, he said he got bad advice. When Zach Land won, he looked him up. I don't know how what he vetted, but he came out and said that was actually the MAGA choice. So I just kind of wanted to point that out, and the value of the Trump endorsement is he's doing his absolute best to grab loyalty. Barry had been loyal. That's why he got that endorsement. It's not necessarily because he's the best choice. And I earnestly believe that if Trump knew Jared, he would endorse him in a heartbeat. And what that previous caller mentioned about his interview he watched, there's a handful of these big long-form interviews, and it's true across the board. It's honestly true in almost every one of his speaking moments, that the very first and foremost thing he does is, in fact, testimony and compelling and encouraging people to pray that God will let himself be known, and you will come to God through the person of Jesus Christ. I mean, he is just guaranteed. He's using every ounce of his life to spread gospel. So.
Yeah, I hear, and to Jared's credit, and this, look, I just know it. The minute he got in the race, I knew I was going to vote for him. And even if another friend had run, I'd kind of made that commitment. And I'm not campaigning for him. Y'all vote for who you want to. This is why I don't do endorsements anymore. But it's just, I'm honest with the audience about my relationships. And that's what made me like him to begin with, is every time I've seen him speak, every time he's come on my show for years before he ever decided to run for anything, he puts that first, and he walks it out. He lives it out. And there's so many politicians that will hide behind Christianity to get votes, and I've seen them all behind the scenes. And they're all Christians are going to fall short at some point anyway. That's the whole point of Christianity. But for every example I've ever seen, Jared and I don't hang out and go camping together. It's not like we're that close, but he seems to be genuine in that. And
totally.
And that's about, that's sincere. I think it's very sincere.
Well, he wrote a book about the armor of God while in the services, and that's in that interview, by the way. He mentions it. His buddies call it a pamphlet because it's only 50 pages long or something. But it's like through and through. Where I live, I've got neighbors that watched him grow up. It's the same story. Same story his whole life. Makes sense from the family he's come from, that's fixed first and foremost in his life. I just think it's really amazing that he's managed to carry that torch through all of this stuff. I mean, not to mention, it's tough to be a SEAL, first off. And then what he decided to do after all of that with the Covenant Rescue Group and the going around and training these people to stop bad guys from doing real bad things to kids, it's just incredibly impressive. And then meanwhile, it's weekly that he's putting out. I don't know if he's necessarily putting it out, but he's like preaching. He's running a Bible study. He's doing this stuff. And something I know he would never, well, actually I hadn't noticed, but I doubt he would ever brag about is storms that came through last summer. And I think this is before there was any even campaign announcement. So good luck saying it was any sort of a stunt. There's some trees that came down in the neighborhood. And would you know it, Jared Hudson standing out there with a chainsaw and some buddies cutting up trees, clearing the road, getting everybody taken care of, which is kind of the nature of his town. They all tend to take care of each other. But it's just a really, really good guy. I messed up, and I've gotten too deep into reading about all these mudslings and so on, and it started to boil my blood a little, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, look, it's just they want you to be upset. It motivates people to get out to the polls. It'll be a low turnout race, and well, good call, Josh. I got to look up the clock and
Yes,
saw
sir.
what time it was. Appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, and that's not to say you can brag about one guy and not take anything away from another guy. You know what I mean? It's not always a mutually exclusive description of one candidate. Doesn't mean the other candidate's not a Christian. Doesn't mean the other candidate's not that. But we do have to decide on our own standards who we want to put in office. If you want a person with a proven track record in public votes in support of Trump's agenda, that's Barry Moore. He's been in office. He's been in the state. He's been in the Congress. If you want somebody from outside that system who never been part of it, fresh blood, turnover, those kind of values, that is a decent guy, it's Jared Hudson fits that bill. And it depends on who you want as your senator. We get to go vote tomorrow, y'all. Good luck at the polls. Should be easy to get in and out of there. All right, I see Michael and Joey and Ronnie. We're coming to all of you, but I got to hit this break. Crocker Moving Services bringing you the show tonight. Y'all get Crocker to come over if you got any kind of moving to be done, whether it's a big full-fledged move or just 2 hours. They've got a 2-hour minimum, and that works. Oh, that works for me so much. When it's just too much for me to deal with, and they can come knock it out for a reasonable rate and move on to the next customer, that works for all of us, and they know what they're doing. They'll move your stuff carefully. CrockerMovingServices.com. All right, it's 426. Let me get caught up on some calls here. I appreciate all the calls this afternoon. We'll start with Michael on line 3. Michael, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Leland, how you doing, brother?
How you doing? Well.
Hey, I was going to tell you a funny little story that happened this weekend. Me and my daughter stopped by the Publix there in Calera, and we were standing in line to get a sandwich made, and it was a little white lady behind the counter, older lady, and then standing next to me was this big black guy, and he's probably 6'4". He was wearing like a flannel shirt, had work pants on, big old concrete boots. He'd been sweating because it was so hot.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed that the lady behind the counter, she kept staring at him and like giving him the eye. So she starts asking questions. So then she says, "Can I ask you a question?" And he says, "Yeah." And she goes, "Are you in talk radio?" And he said, "No, ma'am. No, I work at the steel mill up the road or whatever." And she goes, "Are you sure?" I mean, she was smitten by this guy.
AJ, you know where this is going, right?
I do know where this is going.
Yeah. She clearly thought he was me, right? No.
Yeah. The more he would talk, he was getting kind of tickled too. Like she was taking it so far with him, and like she'd say, "Oh, come on now," and he said, "Well, what are you getting at?" She said, "Is your name AJ?" And she goes, "Yeah," and he goes, "No, ma'am, my name's Earl or whatever," and she says, "Are you sure? Because you look a lot like him." And I thought,
she's
"Now,
convinced.
I've seen AJ on the Crocker commercials, you know," and I'm like, don't get me wrong, AJ, you're a good-looking man, but this dude right here, I mean, y'all didn't look nothing alike. And so then she starts asking him stories about the show, and he completely quit. So finally I stepped in. I said, "Ma'am, are you talking about Leland Live and AJ?" And she said, "Yes, do you listen?" And I said, "Yes." She goes, "Is this AJ?" I said, "No, ma'am, I don't think it is."
She still wouldn't believe it.
Oh,
I think
man. Hey,
you
man.
know what she wanted, Michael, she really wanted to go home and tell somebody she met AJ, but he
Yes.
was denying her
Yeah.
dream. Yep.
And I promise you, when she left there, she did that.
Yep.
I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
going to deny. I'm not going to admit or deny that I have done that before. When someone asked me, "Am I AJ?" and I had denied that I was that said person. I've done that before.
Oh, you pretend to be a concrete worker? Is that
No,
what you-
I pretended to be somebody else. I used
Yeah.
the name because I was tired. I did that.
Well,
that was
I
a
guess
long
the
time
question now
ago.
is- I guess the question now, AJ, do you work part-time in Calera on the weekends?
Probably so.
It might have been AJ.
I got multiple jobs.
What if it was AJ?
All right, fellas, you have a good day.
All right, man. Funny story. Funny
Yeah.
story. Michael, appreciate it, buddy. Joey and Ronnie and Matt, y'all hang on. Let's do a little quick bottom of the hour. We'll keep going with the calls. 545-9950. Leland Live. Y'all hang on. All right, y'all, 434. We are getting on down the road on this Monday. Tapco up next, man. I was so relieved to take my Jeep down to Michael and his company to get them to look through it. I'm on a road trip live from Oklahoma City today as we move further and further west. And part of the trip is I bring this Jeep along, and it's how we get around after we're parked on location. And it's important we don't have problems out here. Time is of the essence when you're moving and doing these radio shows. And of course, it kind of ruined the whole vacation to have a breakdown out in the middle of nowhere. You'd be out in the middle of nowhere in a second. So anyway, so I took it down to Michael. I knew I needed an oil change, and they're just thorough. And I said, just go through it, whatever it needs. Let's get it done because I want a safe vehicle for this trip. And they did. They found some leaky seals that could have caused a bearing seizure. They found some brake issues. It was just probably overdue for that too. So they buttoned me up. I mean, they did it that day. I took it in the morning. Got a ride to work. By that afternoon, they had brought me my Jeep back. They have a courtesy shuttle where they'll do that for you. If you're close enough to their shop, somewhere around generally downtown Birmingham, they will get you back to work on your car, get it back to you. It's really peace of mind to have a quality mechanic and service tech in your life when something goes wrong. So for your routine stuff, when you just have oil changes and rotations and regular maintenance, take your car down to Tapco, and then you've got a relationship. You'll see what I mean when you meet them. And then when something crazy goes on, and we all fear that light, that noise, whatever, Tapco can get it worked out for you. And with a fair price, quick turnaround, they're good folks. It's good to trust your mechanic. It's Tapco, T-A-P-C-O, TapcoBham.com. They're downtown Birmingham on 6th Avenue South. Y'all get to know Michael Lim. By the way, drop my name, get 10% off. I'm serious. Drop my name. Get 10% off at TapcoBham.com. All right, let's hit the phones again. I appreciate all the calls tonight. I'm a little tired, to be honest with y'all. It has been a couple of days grind, and the calls kind of helped me get through this 4 hours. Joey is up here on line 2 next. What's up, Joey?
Where y'all headed to on this trip?
Man, heading straight to Colorado. I'm going to take some downtime. There's a big old hippie music festival that I've been wanting to go to for 20 or 30 years. So I'm going to go do all that stuff, and then we're going to take some vacation time. And then we're going to revisit some places that we've been to before 3 years ago. But this time I got the cameras with us, so y'all get to see all the hippies and the cowboys and the characters that we wound up talking to.
What town is the festival in?
It's in Telluride.
Oh, okay. So y'all are taking the Jeep. You know about all those overland passes that you can do?
Oh, yeah. There's more stuff out here than you could do in the short time we have there, but I'm there for the picking and grinning.
I got you. Yeah, I heard you say you were pulling the Jeep, but they've got all kind of trails and stuff you can take.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Well, after that, we're going over to Moab. You talk about Jeep country.
Yeah.
All the Utah
right
canyons and all that stuff. Yeah, that's what they do out there.
Are you going to be setting up and doing your shows like you did last year in the different towns?
Yeah, I'm going to take a little vacation time, but immediately after that, we're going to have 3 solid weeks of shows from town to town, all out through the West.
Oh, good deal. Well, enjoy your trip.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Joey. Ronnie is up next on a cell phone. What's up, Ronnie?
Hell, I'll redo my driveway if AJ's going to come out and do it. Hell, that's worth the picture.
You'll have a celebrity out there doing your driveway.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, listen, I was telling AJ, all this outside money rolling into the state of Alabama, I think there should be a law. If it's an Alabama congressman, Alabama senator, the money should originate from the state of Alabama and should come from Alabamians, because we're having too much outside influence dictating who controls and who represents us as Alabamians. It's not right. I mean, you've got Californians, Nevadians, New Yorkers throwing millions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of dollars into races. It means nothing to them other than making sure they get control of the House or Senate.
Yeah, and listen, I can go on this for a long time. I've debated back and forth all of the reform measures for campaign finance over the years, and I get the limitations, and I'll try to walk you through some of those. First up,
I know there's ways around it. Trust me.
Well, yeah, but there's been court challenges and it gets reaffirmed.
Yeah.
So if you want me to bore you, I'm with you. I wish the only source of any contribution to any candidate, if you're running for statewide, it has to come from your state. If you're running in a district, it's got to come from your district. The problem is you run into free speech violations where you'll wind up in court, and the court has repeatedly ruled that money equals speech, basically. And that means
I'm not saying from your district. I'm just saying it should have to originate from Alabamians.
Yeah. I understand that.
I mean, because you, like I said, you have people who are pumping millions of dollars into races that doesn't affect them at all, other than control of the House or the Senate.
Yep.
And it hurts Alabamians. And unless, and I know there's ways around it, companies, that can come in and set a P.O. box up in Pelham, Alabama. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's ways around all of it. I'm not dumb. I know there's ways around it, but there's got to be some way to stop this money from influences our races on people who do not represent us as Alabamians.
No, that's where I was agreeing with you. I'm just saying that every time that's challenged, the court always winds up coming back saying that because the general concept is to express yourself, you have to spend money. And so if people want to participate so free speech isn't limited. In other words, let me say, if I wanted to go over in Georgia and have free speech, I've got it in Georgia just like I do in Alabama. So if somebody wants to weigh in Alabama from outside Alabama, the courts have always generally ruled if they want to contribute, that's their right, because this is a country that's covered by that. And it comes down to money equaling speech in the eyes of the law, and that's what's hard to get anything meaningful done that would cap this off or slow it down.
I can actually see that in presidential elections.
Yep,
but
I understand.
Local, you know what I'm saying? Local that has, somebody in Georgia, it doesn't affect them at all. But it may affect some grandmother, who are, any Alabamian and it ends up hurting a lot of Alabamians from this outside money, because no matter how bad you want this one opponent, if they're not raising the money, they're not getting their rear ends elected.
Well, and that's the game. The only reason Katie Britt is the United States Senator is because of Washington money bought that seat. They needed somebody that was controllable and not going to cause any trouble. So they picked a longtime staffer, their buddy Richard Shelby, and put the money behind it.
That's another bone with me. She's a pretty girl. She had the name. She had the smile, and they put the money behind her. I mean, you can't tell me that a lot of times looks, the smile, the personality does not get you elected, even though you may not even be the best candidate.
That doesn't explain Lindsey Graham. I'm just going to go ahead and say.
Well, I appreciate it. What's the one from Massachusetts that looks like Gargamel?
Yeah, no, politics is Hollywood for ugly people. Just go ahead and write that down.
Well, the one from Massachusetts that looks like Gargamel, whoever elected her, they need to go lead the Lazy Eye Center right now.
All right, Ronnie, appreciate you, buddy.
Right,
I guess just to go down that nerdy road about, because I get frustrated with it. It's the thing that's the most corrupt thing is our politicians being owned by everybody but us. And the problem is, and I'm not saying I agree with it, I'm just explaining the way the law always works in these cases. And here's another philosophical point. If you limit, the more you limit the ability for people to contribute, the more power technically the media get, because they've got all the volume and amplification and power to steer the course of the country. But these campaign ads counter that, especially if you're a conservative or a Republican. You're not going to get fair coverage. You're not going to get your word out. We know this. It's not an accusation. It's a fact of the way campaigns cover things. I mean, I gave you an example earlier in the show. When oil was above $100, networks like CNN and MSNBC had a constant ticker of the price of oil because it suited their politics. That's not journalism. If it was journalism, they'd still have the ticker up today. It got into $80, they took the ticker off. So they're reporting what they want and leaving out what they don't want to tell you. That this is happening in the United Kingdom too. And man, do I have to get to a story about digital IDs here in a minute that's becoming very concerning. But back to the subject, they have tremendous power, and not as much as they used to. The mainstream media is losing out. Social media and the larger platforms that are just more populist, and they don't have the strength and power that they used to. But to be able to counter that message and get your word out and be competitive so that your Democrat opponent doesn't have an advantage of good media coverage, you have to spend money. You got to turn around and go buy time for these same sons of bitches that are trying to do your campaign in. You got to go raise money and spend money on the same TV and network stations and newspaper outlets or whatever is out there to counter the message. And that's where money and speech have always, in the eyes of the law, kind of combined. To be able to properly express yourself in a public forum, in a mainstream debate, in an election year, you got to spend money. I mean, to get access, to get the word out, you got to spend money. So that's been the downfall. How to break that, I don't know. I mean, if it were me, I'd have strict limits. I don't think a corporation should give one dime no more than an individual. But the courts have repeatedly ruled that corporations and PACs, for example, are just pools of individuals expressing themselves. They pool their money to have strength with a PAC system. That's the philosophy behind it, but really it's just a money laundering operation. It's a way to get around contribution limits. It's a way to hide the source of contributions. It's a way to attack people and give the candidate deniability. Oh, that wasn't me. That was some PAC. I don't control them. How many times have we heard that? It's a dirty, dirty system. And as long as it's dirty, the people who get to these offices are going to continue to be dirty and ineffective because it's the system we've allowed. I don't really know what the solution is. I think about it a lot. Every time I come up with something that would work, I can see a reason why it would be legally challenged and never happen. Plus, add this to it. The people that would have to change the election laws are the people that are already in office that got elected on the existing laws. They really don't want to change the system that got them their jobs. Think about that. They're not going to do anything to restrict themselves. They're not going to do term limits. They're not going to do age limits unless they have to. They'll talk about doing it. They'll run TV ads about doing it. They'll put out press releases that they're for it, but they're not going to do it. Just know that. By the way, speaking of not going to do anything, we understand this afternoon that Thune in the Senate has told the president he will not attach the SAVE Act to a new, I think it was one of the bills coming up next week, one of the appropriations bills. He's just not going to do it. That's not going to pass. The system has decided they don't want it for whatever reason, and Thune is a poon. Write that down. TAPCO, I already told you about TAPCO. Let me tell you about Alabama. Let me tell you about the Knowles Group. I lost my place on my sheet over here. Danny Knowles and the Knowles Group. You know, some days I'll tell you on the down days, these are days when you need a good financial advisor so you don't panic. The last 2 or 3 trading days, you'd be too exuberant. Maybe you get a little too cocky thinking it's always going to be this way, and it's not. What you need is a financial advisor that sees the big picture, the long view, to keep your money steady. When you look at the averages of how the markets have played over the years, they tend to grow. Even through the down times, they'll still grow on the average because there are up times and down times. And that's what Danny and his sons and his family business, the Knowles Group, can do for you is help you, one, employ that strategy, but two, develop it based on when you need to land. When do you need to retire? How much do you need? When is that? Sometimes the money will dictate the timeline. Sometimes the timeline will dictate the money. That's up to y'all. Let Danny, my lifelong friend, sit down and talk to you about it. All I can tell you is he's extremely successful at what he does. He's extremely direct. He's always been that way. We grew up together, and he'll do right by you. Just see if it's a fit for you. It's the Knowles Group, N-O-L-E-S, theknowlesgroup.com. Back here in just a minute. Y'all, Allen and Company, that's my go-to jeweler, and I'm going to tell you, it's been that way for years and years. They've been with the show for years and years, and they're just so good. They're nice folks, there to help you with anything, whether you just need your piece clean. Take it in there and let them clean it. It's in good hands. They've got their own vault. They do their own work. Maybe you need it resized or stones are missing, chains break, just routine stuff when it comes to fine jewelry. Really important that you maintain that stuff. We wear it. It goes with us everywhere. It gets damaged. It gets worn out. Let them take care of you at Allen and Company. And, of course, if it's a purchase for somebody or YOLO, you're going to buy something for yourself, reach out to them and let them design it for you. It's a custom, one-of-a-kind piece you want. Otherwise, everything's just cookie cutter and kind of corporate America. Somebody's got your same ring. Nobody wants that. Go to Allen and Company and do it exactly like you want it, with the Thompson family and that wonderful group of people. It's a small place by design. It's a boutique-sized shop over in Vestavia on the main drag on Highway 31. It's Allen and Company, Allen and Company. Man, I got to go back to the Brazilians throwing that woman off that bridge. By now, y'all seen the story. It was a bungee jumping mishap where the young lady, I think she was 24. They didn't put her bungee
21
cord on. 21. They didn't put the bungee cord, as we call it, on. Threw the woman off the bridge like Superman, and she plunged to her death. Several angles on the video. There's a little bit of updated, and I'm assuming this stuff's correct because I'm seeing it from multiple sources. But there are witnesses. This is just, AJ, this breaks my heart, man. They say she was alive after she hit the ground for a period. She was still alive when they got to her on the ground. Now, so how horrifying. So at some point on the way down, she knew that cord wasn't going to catch her, and then she hits the ground, and I can't imagine the pain she was in. There's also another video, everybody speaking in, I suppose, Portuguese. I think that's what they primarily speak in Brazil. And there's a woman in the background I wouldn't have picked up on when I watched the video. But apparently you can hear a faint voice in the background right before they throw her off go, her rope. Like this lady noticed it wasn't even attached. It's laying on the ground. You can see it right beside her before they tossed her off that bridge. They've arrested two of the guys that were involved in it. I'm looking at 3 people, though, in the video. So I don't know whose core responsibility is. But what a horrifying way to go. That's we talked about it. We can revisit it if you want to. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. I don't do this kind of stuff. I just don't. I'm not one of those tourists. I don't need to zip line on vacation. I don't need to do anything. The most adventurous thing I've done probably lately was we did a hike that was kind of dicey in the Alps last year when we were doing. It's this epic hike you got to do. And at one point, we're on the side of a mountain with a cable. You got to hold on to a cable or you're not making the trail. And I would not trust these people at all. And I don't know how the woman didn't notice she wasn't hooked up, unless I was looking at the video to see she does have some kind of, it's like a harness on and a helmet. So they outfitted her. And as far as I know, the hook goes in the back. So maybe she thought they snapped it on there and was just so very trusting and naive about it, and they just airplaned her straight off that bridge. And I know it's an embarrassment for the people. Now, this is apparently, it looks like a shoddy old rusty bridge that just happens to be tall, and somebody came up with a money-making opportunity in Brazil. But those are the updates on that this afternoon. Good Lord. Have you seen that video? Have you seen the second one, AJ? There's one from behind.
Yeah, I've seen the one that was behind where they got her, like, in the Superman pose, and they I ain't seen the other. I haven't seen the other one.
Just gently toss her right over the edge. Just mind-boggling.
Now I've seen like pranks like that. When they're like trying to play with people, where they act like when they do the bungee cord, and then they have the other rope that's like, oh my God, I forgot to tie it, and the person's freaking out, but they have it attached. You know what I'm saying? And I wonder if they kind of did it like that, but actually it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just horrifying.
I wonder if we'll ever hear from the guys. Like, what were they thinking or what were they not thinking? I don't know. It's Brazil. They may just take them out back and execute them because, anyway.
I don't think it was on purpose. I mean, obviously it was an accident. But, I mean, I don't know what the regulations and rules are when it comes to stuff like that. Obviously, you know, we have rules and regulations here.
Those are rules and regulations for life.
Yeah.
Don't throw somebody off a bridge without the bungee cord. You don't need a government regulation to tell you, hook the damn cord up.
True. True.
Put the rope on. I said it earlier. I'd be asking 47 questions about that rope. If I ever had the temerity to get up there and try to do something like that, I'd want to know everything. I'd do background checks on the workers. Look, we're in one of those businesses where you and I can have a bad day and nobody dies. But there are other. I was just thinking about this. You just flew on a flight. I just flew on a flight. We don't know who was flying that plane. We don't ask any questions. We just assume the system's going to work. We're all a little bit guilty of being trusting about things in life. You just like, well, everybody's jumping off the bridge. I'll do it too. Fun. Tie me up.
Yeah, no. There's some things I just be like, nah, I'm good. Like people who do rock climbing without any like safety gear, they just got powder on their hand and they just.
Oh yeah, the free.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. Or the guys who want to be like the flying squirrels with the suit on, and they jump off a cliff and they just glide through mountains and stuff. No.
That's my people. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that those are my people, and I don't know why. I look at these rock climbers. I'm like, because one of my sons got into that for a while. I'm like, that rock ain't never done nothing to me. I don't want to climb that rock.
Yeah.
Or
like the people that go see like bugs or animals are like, hey, I want that thing to bite me to see how dangerous it is. Like, why?
That's my favorite routine of all time. That African comedian that was talking about. He goes, man, we don't go over there with the lion. He's like, these European tourists are like, I'm not going over there. That lion would bite you. That's why they stay in the truck, and the damn white people go out there and try to take a picture and give that thing a hug.
Oh, man. It's so cute.
Oh, that lion's like, I don't know you.
Right. Or those people that go out west and see a buffalo. I'm like, oh, my God, it's so majestic.
I'm about to do that myself. I'm just about to do that. Are you making fun of me right now, AJ?
If you take a picture with a buffalo or a bison.
I ain't going anywhere near the mighty bison. Those things can run. They can run like 30 miles an hour and run you down. Yeah.
I mean, they blind as a bat, but still.
I mean, I have bear spray, and I've also got a 12 gauge. I don't want to season the bear. I don't want it to kill me. I'm not trying to put pepper on it. All right, back in a minute. Leland Live. Y'all stay tuned.